Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Investing Bros. This episode brought to you guys by Bubbly, Blue Pomegranate. New drink for me this morning. Trying going back to fuzzy water. Speaking of fuzzy water, Gary Gensler is back in the headlines because, as we all know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He says one thing, flips to the other. Oh, well, guess what? Bitcoin's also up this morning, and it could look very interesting. We're still looking at a price. The next stop for me, at least, what I'm looking at is 36,000. I want to know what you guys think as well. Other big news, of course, regulation coming back into the forefront with the likes of Coinbase and Brian Armstrong kind of hinting at if regulation doesn't become clear very soon, he could be leaving the United States with Coinbase. The UK might be an option. We're going to talk about all of that and a whole lot more in this episode. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks on trading, on the stock, on the crypto market in general. We talk Bitcoin, crypto, we talk stocks, we do the TA, we do the news, everything that you need so that you can make informed decisions for yourself when you're investing. Make sure if that's something you guys love that you're a part of this amazing, fast-growing community. We are stupid close. So stupid close to 3,000 subscribers. I think it's going to happen within the next couple of days. Make sure you are one of the first 3,000. I'm joined by two amazing, beautiful, awesome goobers, as we decided they were yesterday, though. They are goobers, but they're awesome. First one, sitting across the desk from me for not that much longer, for the rest of this week. And then after this week, he won't be sitting across the desk from me anymore. T-Shroom. How are you feeling this morning, especially on that solemn news?
I'm feeling good, Tim. I've told a couple people I've never wanted someone to leave Gainesville so bad.
Wow.
And usually I get very teary-eyed and sad when somebody leaves Gainesville.
Wow.
But in the case of you, my friend, it means only good things. Well, not only good things. 99% good things. Obviously, you physically being here. We won't be able to play pickleball.
Yeah.
We won't be able to give physical high fives. And
it's a key to our relationship.
And we won't be able to have our epic rap battles into the late wee hours of the night as we do to
it's true.
to Ice Spice beats. But I do have a great quote for us today. Ice Spice has a new song with Nicki Minaj, and I haven't listened to it yet, so it's probably pretty vulgar and profane, as you might expect from today's art.
So it's not going to be we're not going to listen to it live on the show today, is what you're saying.
That's correct. Yeah. But someone who doesn't put out profane art is Willie Nelson, and that's who's bringing us our tweet today from Crux of Crypto's Twitter. Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results. Look at him there. The legend, Willie Nelson, laying down the truth.
Come on. Love it, love it. We're also joined by Goober number 2 this morning. That is Mr. Army Piper. How are you doing this morning, Piper?
I'm feeling gooberish, and I'm doing fantastic. My Ethereum trade's still doing strong. Got to keep it strong. Stay strong. Woo-hoo. And I can't complain, man. It's a Tuesday. It's just another day of the week, and we're here grinding it out, doing what we do, bro.
You got a brand new toy the last day or so that you've been playing with. What's your brand new toy, Piper?
I got a MacBook Pro M2 Max laptop so that I can do live streams when I'm traveling and still do all of the stuff that I do from right here at my desk. So, yeah, I'm very excited about it. It's super slick. It's pretty cool. It's very powerful. It's insanely stupid on how powerful it is. So it's almost as stupid as the U.S.'s approach to regulation on crypto. So
there we go. There we go. Well, before we jump in here, we're going to read some names in chat. Had a new leader. We have a new first commenter. I haven't seen this name be the first comment, but maybe I'm wrong. I do have to ask a question, though. I asked this in the poll, and I want to get your guys' take on it. I want to hear your answers. We've had 43 people vote, even though we have 70 people watching the show, so more people need to vote on this poll. And I'll clarify it just a little bit. But T-Shroom and Piper, if regulation of crypto drives all major exchanges, and I'm talking about things like Binance or Coinbase or KuCoin or you name it, right? If it's driven out of our country, the United States, or other people, if you live in a different country, would you reconsider or would you consider moving to a different country where crypto is more accessible?
I would not be able to own my guns that I own, and that would be a big problem. And I also would have to drop out of the Army which would be a very complicated and laborious task. And I would not want to do either of those things. So for that reason, Tim, I'm out.
I was going to say, well, you're out. What about you, Piper? That's compelling case. Compelling case from the T-Shroom.
Well, I need some. I would need to hear some other factors. Like I have a couple of questions. One,
Okay.
Does this mean giving up my U.S. citizenship, or does it just mean moving to another country? Because there are some things like that apply to U.S. citizens abroad too. So your expats still have to follow U.S. Regulatory law. So
Let's sweeten the pot in two different ways on this question. Yes, you have to give up your citizenship, but
then
also
the answer is no.
crackdowns on VPNs and the United States
The answer
cracking down on the use
answer
case
would
of
be
VPNs.
The answer would be no, because I get a check from the Veterans Affairs and a check from the federal pension program, and my wife does also. So on both of those fronts, so between the two of us, it would be a significant loss of fixed income. So
Makes sense. I think then that makes me the only person. And the key word here is consider, I guess. I don't know. It would come to a lot of details, but I think would start considering leaving the United States. But that makes me the oddball out. I'm the minority here. Let's go ahead and check in with our community here. First of all, we did swing here in the last couple of seconds.
Tim. I want the audience to be the witnesses here. If you leave because of crypto, can I give you my money and you get 10% of it for my investment?
Yeah. Can I also do the same thing, but give you no percent?
So we're doing a little scenario here. Like you guys give me 1 Bitcoin, I give you back 2. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
Listen, depending on who you are, you might have already received some sort of offer like that from me via the interwebs. So anyway, let's go ahead and check in with chat this morning. We had a new first commenter, and that was Mike Play with the first comment, followed up by everyone's favorite non-president, Crypto Ben Franklin. So congratulations to those two individuals. The bots couldn't hold them back this morning. Maybe Mike Play and Crypto Ben Franklin created bots. These days, it's not really that hard to create a bot. But they did beat out with the number 3 commenter, a mellow fellow who had been on a streak, had a lot of wins recently. So a mellow fellow is going to have to kind of keep retooling that bot there. We also have Alton Henderson here. Eric Wallen is here saying he is 3rd, even though I think that would make you 4th. Eric, maybe you commented 3rd while Alton was typing 1. Great strategy, by the way, Alton. That's really easy. Just 1 character to get the comment. Great strategy right there. Justin Eubanks is here. Elliot Locke says good morning here. Who else do we have? Gia S is here with the GM. Alex Green just saying not last. There you go. I mean, you're not first, but you're not last. So what does that make you? Like 4th loser? 5th loser? I don't know. Al Bundles is here this morning. Crypto Pew Pew Cruz, one of our favorite names of the commenters here. Joe Nickel is here. CBD Suddy. Crypto Archie. Shout out to Crypto Archie, who tomorrow will be joining Piper, T-Shroom, and myself on TA Talks. You don't want to miss it, but to do it, you got to either be in the premium Discord levels for Investing Bros or Chart Prime. Really quick and easy ways to solve that. Go check out links down below. Rick Wilson is here saying afternoon, folks. So Rick must be in Europe, I would imagine, if he's saying afternoon. Pashis is here. Who else do we have? Brian D is saying good morning. Crypto JMP is here. Dustin Singer is here. Who else do we have? I think I said Justin Eubanks, but just in case, got to say Justin Eubanks. Don't want to miss the name. Yair Navarro, Ninja Glock, Crypto Military Vet, shout out to you. Donato Cabrera. I don't know if that's how it's said, but we're going to read it like that. Donato Cabrera. Welcome. Mr. J is here saying, wow, I am so late. It's okay, Mr. J. Better late than never.
That's right.
Crypto Trades is here as well. Who else do we have? John Kahn. And get a couple more here. Oh, here we go. We haven't gotten to do this one in a little minute. Servando Estrada. Boom. Jeff Sullivan. Josh Denham, Grand Roofing Incorporated. Get a couple more here, and then we're going to get into our content. Elo Brown with the GM. And we'll do one more. The Kid, Co-MN, Colorado, Minnesota. Welcome. We are so glad you guys are here. If I didn't read your name, it's not because I don't love you. It's just because it's time to go ahead and jump into our amazing content, starting off with our macroeconomic outlook brought to you by the Piper. Piper, what are we looking at this morning?
We're looking at a screen here of a bunch of data,
Ooh.
Tim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
Amazing, huh? So we had building permits releases today. It came in at 1.413 million permits that were approved. It was previously 1.55. It was projected to be at 1.45 and on forecast. So came in a little bit below that, but not much. Just means that they're slowing down a little bit, which means that demand might be coming down. Again, I said lessening demand means lower rate hikes, because that means inflation's getting in line. That's how that all plays out. So that's what we have today. Nothing else really big here. We got housing starts that came in 1.42 million. So there was consensus was going to be 1.4 to 1.3. So even housing starts on builds are slowing down too, which means that we might actually see some housing prices come down. That'd be nice. I'm sure a lot of people out there are like, I'm never going to be able to own a home if they don't get this under control. So maybe that's a start to it. Looking at Wednesday, we got the 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate coming in tomorrow. We were at 6.3 previously, came up a little bit. I think it was at 6.1 prior to that. So we might see that come in tomorrow a little bit lower now, because, if they're not building a lot of houses, then they don't have a lot of, need for increased rates. So
that's right.
Thursday, moving into that, we got initial jobless claims on Thursday, and on Friday, like nothing major on Friday. It's going to be kind of a quiet week on this macroeconomic front, Tim. So,
well, throwing it back to chat real quick, I did get a correct pronunciation. It's Do Nato. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Do Nato Cabrera. 9 out of 10, I'm going to pronounce it wrong again because I'm going to forget. But thank you for the clarification. Stay with us as I continue to butcher names on a daily basis. It is one of my favorite things to do. Let's go ahead and share my screen. We're still looking at a pretty overwhelming vote of confidence. We're going to see 25 basis point rate hike here in May. Again, still have 15 days. A lot can change, but we've seen a little consistency here. It's going to take a major news story to break that. Maybe another bank crash. I don't know what else. I mean, we could probably sit here and speculate what else could change Jerome Powell's mind. And technically, this isn't Jerome Powell's mind. This is just the people predicting it. But they're pretty confident at this point. 25 is a safe bet. By the way, again, I want you guys to understand how bullish that is, that the market continues to move to the upside. And I know we had a dip yesterday, but we continue to move to the upside daily, despite the fact that we're pricing in 25 basis points.
But was that really a dip?
From here.
Would you really call that a dip yesterday?
5%. We'll talk more. We'll go to the charts and kind of address that. Some people were freaking out for no reason. As we made a lot of good predictions yesterday.
We did.
And to be fair, we've made a lot of good predictions recently. We've been wrong. Everyone's wrong from time to time. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the moment of glory for the investing bros. Not just Tim. T. Shroom has been right. Piper's been right. We've been calling a lot of things right. And one of the things we talked about yesterday, you guys remember when we were sitting at 69 on the greed, but I said, hey, watch based off this little 5%, even though it's 5%. I was like, watch people, freak out and this drops. Sure enough, we dropped 11 points down to 58. So we're now barely in the greed. Just another bullish factor that despite the fact it only took 5%, Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index dropped 11 points. So keep your eyes on that. Speaking of Bitcoin, let's get over into this chart. Let's just start with the other thing we called correctly yesterday. That'd be the bullish divergence that formed out here on the 4-hour chart. Those of you who watched yesterday, we had some haters in chat. It's okay. We love our haters.
Haters in the building.
We love when they're in here. It's nice when they're respectful, but sometimes the haters don't get things right. And sometimes those that are running a YouTube channel get things correct. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. Notice that we called this. We didn't even have that green reversal, but I told you guys yesterday when we're sitting like right here, that was during the show. I said, watch that we just flashed. Oh, we're low here on the RSI. We touched the 30. We have a flash over here of oversold, despite the fact that we are nowhere near the most recent dips. This is forming almost perfect bullish divergence. And would you look at that? That's exactly what we have here. We haven't had it necessarily come in on our chart prime oscillator, because the chart prime oscillator, those you don't know, really dynamic indicator. When you see bearish or bullish divergences, that is because it's looking at a lot. It's looking at the RSI, it's looking at MACD, it's looking at stochastics. It's taking information from several oscillators, and when it finds an overwhelming amount of confluence that there's divergences, that's when you see a divergence on chart prime. But we definitely do have that divergence forming right here on our RSI, and of course, even though it did not pop up on the indicator, wouldn't take too much of a rocket scientist to say, oh, look at that, the dip is lower, despite the fact that in the same timeline, the price action went higher. So we do, in fact, get that 4-hour daily divergence. This is something that is very good, but keep your eyes on this. This is a little bit of education for you guys on how to read these things. Notice that we kind of ignored this one. I'm going to say we ignored this overbought right here, but this was a good call on the 4-hour chart. This overbought paired with the peak seeker was a good top call. And now that we have a good bottom call, technically speaking, while I do think we're moving to the upside, be aware of if we have another flash here very soon, because that is a sign to me that technically right now we're moving in a range sideways. When you get good tops and bottoms call from your oscillators, that means the trend is neither bullish nor bearish on the 4-hour chart. Definitely bullish on daily chart. But on the 4-hour chart, these calls are moving more sideways, so they should be respected very heavily.
Tim, what is the peak seeker?
Ooh, you want me to go back to the peak seeker?
Yeah, what is that?
Piper,
can you explain it?
You might be able to explain it. It might be able to explain it a lot better, because for me, the peak seeker is just it's a great place to just call a lot of different peaks, whether the bottom or top. You guys can see we have a good call back here. Usually these blue dots are some of the better calls. It doesn't mean they're 100% perfect, but they are indicating that the peak should be coming in. Piper, you can elaborate that a little more, since you've been trading with Chart Prime just a little bit longer than I have. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot bit.
A lot bit. So yeah, so when he talks about the peak seeker, that's the blue dots there on the oscillator, guys. Some people said that they don't understand some of the indicators that we use, so we're going to start explaining them to you guys a little bit. All it's doing is taking in volume data and price action movement to tell you if this is looking like it is going to be a reversal in price action, saying that this is a local peak. And it might only be a couple of candles that it actually falls, or sometimes it might be an entire movement. But it does tell you that volume is decreasing while price action is making a move in a different direction or slowing down and about to flip. So there you go.
Very nice.
Great description. Yeah, that is awesome. We've been talking about that a little more, while we're still doing the TA here. We had some people that they track with us every time we're talking. We've had other people, like my brother was in town this weekend. He's like, man, I love getting to watch the show every time I can, but I'm going to be honest with you, I got no idea what you're talking about. And we don't want to necessarily dumb it down and just like do beginner friendly every single day. A lot of you guys come in here, you want to see us give some good, solid takes, more advanced takes on the technical analysis, but we also want this channel and this community to be very friendly to beginners. So we're going to do that, like Mike Piper just did. We're going to slow down sometimes and do a lot of explaining, a lot of education on this channel. So definitely go tell your friends, your family, come join and subscribe to the Investing Bros, because we're going to help you guys learn and go along the way. Let's go out to the daily chart here and see what is happening on Bitcoin. Now, I told you this is majorly bullish. This is not over just yet, but what we talked about a lot on this channel when we're looking at this oscillator is when you ignore an overbought and a red triangle, when you when you ignore a double bearish indicator on this oscillator, that is a massive sign. Excuse me, a bubbly. This episode brought to you by Bubbly. It also brings bubbles up into your throat while you're talking. When you ignore these and you move to the upside, that is a major bullish sign that the trend and the bull's power and momentum is more powerful than these flashes that are technically telling us truths. Like, these things are popping up because compared to recent price action, the money flow and everything else, we are in a spot of being overbought. Now, yes, we did dip, but this is the thing that we're talking about. Even if you went to the very peak, because this little red triangle pops up here, let's pretend that you could have predicted this peak perfectly, $31,058. All the way down to the bottom was only 6.18%. But more realistically, we didn't see that this flash. Let me zoom in here just a little more. We didn't see this red triangle actually flash on the daily chart until this red candle. So realistically, if we were to go there, let's get conservative, go to the very top of the red candle. That's still only a 4.49%. More realistically, if we're getting really real with things, we're going to go to the close of this candle, in which case we only dipped 4% after this flashed on the charts. That, my friends, if we continue the upside, would be a great way of saying we're not really acknowledging this overbought red triangle. The bull's momentum is too strong. And again, we should see this move to the upside. We've seen this happen kind of before. Yes, we see a lot of pauses. We've seen a lot of pauses during a peak seeker, an overbought, a red triangle. but we haven't seen major shifts to the downside like we did. Let me back this up, and I've talked about this before. But if you guys were to go back and watch a video I made over on Chart Prime, I've also talked about this a lot in our Discord for our investing bros. But these signals during the time that we were trading sideways, both overbought and oversold signals were lethal trading opportunities. In fact, I made a video over in Chart Prime where if you had just followed a very simple trading strategy back all the way between June and back here in March, you could have, if you'd use just 5x leverage on trades and only bought and sold when you saw these types of flashes, you could have turned $1,000 into $100,000. You could have 100x'd your trade portfolio just using these during a sideways trading channel. But the reason I talked about it, I say in the video, I was like, hey, it's coming to a time where you might want to start changing your strategy, because guess what? We now might just confirm 3 different scenarios with major bearish indicator flashes being ignored. The same way, if you were to go back to the bear market, this bear market all between the end of 2021, all of 2022 that came into 2023, you're going to see a lot of candy down here. Let me kind of spread this out. You're going to see a lot of eye candy down here, a lot of oversold flashes, a lot of peak seekers, and some of them are pretty good. But most of them, what you see happen is the price just pauses before the bears pick up more steam. However, on the flip side, during this bear market, going back to 2021, look at all of these lethal calls right here. Boom, November 2021, peak seeker with a red triangle. That was the top of the bull market, started the bear market. Right here, boom, red triangle, massive dip. Red triangle with overbought, that was the March peak high that started the massive crash back down. And again, it took all the way coming into this flat level of trading to start getting some real quality oversold buying signals to actually hit and make sense. What this means as we're moving into a bull trend, it's going to flip. If you guys on the daily chart see any oversold or green triangles or green momentum dots or peak seekers, holy cow, that is going to be an amazing opportunity for you guys to be buying and have good buy levels, because during a bull trend, those are the ones that really pop. You got to question the bearish ones. Now, you should, let's keep kind of talking about the education of this. You should be using Confluence. So here's what I will tell you. I will be watching, especially I love using this oscillator and Chart Prime with a Fibonacci. I got to spread this out because I did not quite get the exact level I wanted right there, guys. Let me get all the way up here to the top of the bull market. Yes. All right. So here is what I'm going to be watching. There was a little bit of a question right here. We ended up not doing much, but the fact that we hit a Fibonacci level on a more macro timeline, the 0.236 level, and got an overbought, it's one you got to start to question. I'm going to start. I told you guys, I think that 36,000 is coming very soon. One of the reasons why, there's a couple of reasons why, but one of the reasons is the 0.382 level, the 38.2% retracement. If we get a peak seeker flash right there, or if we get an overbought or red triangle, I'll have to sit there and question. I want to look at a couple other things as well. I would not be surprised, everybody, to see us hit to 36 and kind of trade sideways for a couple of days. I think 36 is going to be really major. But after that, blowing up into the 0.5, the 50% range of around 42,000 up to golden pocket, around $49,000 to $50,000. Those are the next levels I'm watching. Watch for there to be overbought indicators that flash right there. That's when you really want to, if you're getting Confluence, you want to really look, is there any reason to believe in the news or other technical analysis that this rally should continue? Otherwise, you might want to at least start thinking about taking profits. Again, for me, maybe a little bit at 36, maybe a little more at 42, but there's a certain amount that I'm just going to go ahead and wait. For me, it's 48,000. Even though I think we hit 50, I'm going to play it more conservatively. If we hit 48,000, let's call it 48,400. The rest of my trading portfolio for Bitcoin, I will go ahead and take profit and wait for a bigger dip. This is because, as I've said on the show several times, and most of you guys know this, my prediction is still that we are copying the type of run we made back in 2019, where we did run up all the way to the golden pocket before a 50% dip. Same thing, I believe that what we're seeing, even in the news cycle, is kind of flowing with this same concept that we're going to run up into this golden pocket, but then start to make our way back down to 25.2, which would be close to a 50% dip. And then we wait until the end of 2023. This timeline's messed up because I'm technically in 2024. Imagine 2024 was over here, and then we start our climb later on down the road. That is my prediction, and at the moment, we are still doing everything correctly in the news, on the charts, to say that that should be happening. But hopefully this episode, as we walked through all of that, guys, hopefully this was really helpful to some of you guys who have been struggling. Maybe you purchased Chart Prime recently. Maybe you've been on the fence about purchasing it and you're like, hey, how do I use this a little bit more? Maybe you've been trying to use Fibonacci and make sense of all this stuff. I hope that you guys, I answered a lot of questions. Just so you know, though, for the next 2 weeks, we will, which not next 2 weeks, because I guess the end of next week. I keep forgetting next week is Austin for you guys. You guys are going out to Texas for the consensus event, but we still should have a lot of Q&A here on YouTube. And then starting in May, we'll be going back to an hour-long show, which case, if you want a lot of Q&A, you're going to have to go over and join our Discord and join our Patreon so you guys spend time with us in Bro Time, which we meet twice a week over there. With that said, though, that's the Bitcoin TA that we have for today. Again, I think that we're seeing some major bullish signs. Technically, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about 32,000 be the next spot to watch. Yes, that would be true. But for me, despite the fact that we have a lot of FUD in the space, despite the fact that we're looking at a 25 basis point rate hike, despite the fact that we're about to go into and have a Bitcoin conference, which traditionally is bearish here at the end of May, I think this is a perfect timeline to get massive pumps into Bitcoin before we have significant dips. Piper, I want you to kind of take over from here now and get into Ethereum, because Ethereum is also rallying this morning. Crypto as a whole is rallying this morning. Maybe none as high as, I think, Gala. You're going to talk more about this probably, T-Shroom. But Gala's up 11% today. Almost everything else hovering in between the 2 to 4% region. But Piper, let us know about Ethereum, the second largest crypto, the king of the altcoins. What is Ethereum looking like this morning, and how's your trade looking like over there?
Well, Tim, so my trade's looking beautiful still, and I'll show that. I'll show my setup on that in a second. But right now, we had that pullback, just like Bitcoin did. We had a nice little pullback on the 4-hour yesterday. It was, we had a peak seeker that printed right here on this candle. So what I did see, though, was that we also had a divergence that printed here, Tim. And this bearish divergence also came right before. So we literally had confirmation of this entire move down. On Ethereum, it was a little bit more, I believe. Let me go to where that's at there. That would have been there. No, actually, it would have been less. It was only a 3% move on Ethereum than what Bitcoin had. But what I do want to show you here is my trade setup that I've been working on, and that's the one that Tim was just asking about. When we had this run up, and I'm going to go ahead and isolate this off here just so you guys can see what I did with this. This strategy, by the way, is over on Chart Prime's YouTube also. It's called, what is it called? The Fib strategy? Is that what I called it over there, Tim? I believe it was. Yeah. So, yep. So when you look at this, we had this big run up here. So when we had a pause here at this level, I measured from this wick here to the top. And then it automatically, excuse me, no bubbly here, just Listen, coffee.
Ethereum gets Piper emotional.
It does. So I'm very emotional about my Ethereum. It's
understandable.
So when it pulls back and you get a bounce after this measurement up, so what you're looking for is a run up and then a pullback. If that pullback is in a golden pocket like this, and on these settings that I have for this, you put in your entry. Part 1 and part 2 on the 50% into 382. And then these are your take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit 3. And if we go all the way up here, there we go. You'll see 2,300 is actually my take profit right now at the negative 1.618. Yesterday, I had closed out half of my trade here, and I still had the other half running and was watching for this. And when it hit there and it got that beautiful bounce on the 618 right there, I was very thankful that I only closed out half, because now my trade, the other half of my trade, is up over $3,000 in profit right now. It's about 10%, I believe, 10.4%. Large margin, low leverage. That's how I trade. So, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing there on Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to come back up and try to hit this zero line here, coming in at 2,100. And if it can get above this, get a nice bounce into there, we'll keep going up. Let me go ahead and pull off that fib though and show you what also we have going on here with our predictive ranges from the Smart Money Concept Bundle. We had that coming in at about 21.8. If we can get up to there, I do suspect that we might see a little bit of a rejection and fall back a little bit to consolidate, grab that liquidity, get all refreshened up, and then come back up again. And if you'll look, you'll see right there's 2,300 on our frame of this predictive range. So that's what I'm watching for. Oscillator's looking good. MACD's looking good. Signal line's getting ready to cross right now. So, like, if we run this a little bit further, this is probably going to play out to something like this. And if you look at the last time on the MACD that we crossed over, you can see what that led to. All of this. So, I'd like to see it. I think 2,300 right now is my local target. We did have a head and shoulders pattern, inverse head and shoulders pattern that printed down here on our auto chart patterns, but that one's already played out to the upside, maxed out. I don't know that it can go much further than that. I mean, if I grab it here, if I can grab it, thank you. And we go up to here. Yeah, that was this level here that we stalled out at. So that's already played out. There's not much else left to do except for see where she goes today and let Bitcoin do its thing and pull everything else with it. So, but yeah, I'm looking at that 2300, 2350 range. So that's what I'm watching for.
Makes a lot of sense, because let's go back to my screen here real quick. Remember, we just talked about Bitcoin. The 0.382 level on the macro Fibonacci levels for Bitcoin, technically 35,942. All right, so I'm just rounding up to 36,000. It's a good psychological area. I think traders make that push towards there. If you went to Ethereum, guess what that level that Piper's talking about? Technically, it's a little higher too, but 2,400 is the 0.382 level on the macro Fibonacci levels for Ethereum as well. So again, I don't necessarily even think Ethereum and Bitcoin are done at those levels, but it will be one to watch. Would not be surprised to see at least a pause for a couple of days, and would not be unwise to take a little bit of profit right there, because we're still looking at it. We've talked about this before. I believe Ethereum could easily still get above 3,000 to 3,600 this summer, and then have a dip, come back down to earth, 1,500, 1,800, somewhere in that range, before the real bull market starts down the road. With that said, though, we are at 9:32. The stock market is open this morning. And with that said, I'm going to throw it over to Goober number one, T. Shroom, for him to let us know what's happening in the stocks world.
That's right. Let's do it. Let's get into it. I am going to start, as I do every morning, on energy. So the natural gas prices are coming up yet again. This would be the third day in a row, I believe. So natural gas up marginally compared to what it has been the rest of this earlier this week, up 1.2% there on the futures contracts, and up 0.9% there on the ETF UNG. And oil is up 0.3%. Let's take a look at oil, because I believe it's right. It has pushed up above its major resistance here. It wicked but did not close on the weekly chart above 82.98. So we'll be watching to see with bated breath if it can close up above there. Again, this is important because this plays into the inflation story. It is really kind of creeping, crawling, caterpillaring up above here. On the daily chart, it did close above that 62.93 price point. So we shall see if it will go ahead and jettison through that and flip it into support. As of right now, that has not happened. So we are watching that with bated breath. It has flipped the dynamic reactor green after that. This was the OPEC gap back in March 31st that really sent oil back into the headlines and back up above $80 per barrel. Well, that's energy. Moving on into our stock indexes, they are green across the screen here. NASDAQ up 0.5, S&P up 0.3, and the SPY up 0.3. So all headed higher. I'm sorry, the Dow Jones is actually down 0.1%. So this is a clear rotation into risk this morning. Although the Dow Jones is not down very much, it is red, right? And you do have the NASDAQ markedly higher here. So I wouldn't say these are strong conclusions, but you are seeing money rotating there into the NASDAQ, so into higher risk assets. Green across the screen, guys, here for crypto. Not a single one red. Pretty impressive there. And Gala leading the way by a long shot, up 11.3%. Gala Games doing it right, getting ahead of it. That's right. If you're in Gala, which I know Army Piper is, you are very happy.
Yes, I am.
Big smile on your face this morning. Link, not too far behind. It was kind of stealing the show this morning, but then Gala started to plunge forward. And now Link is up 6%. So doing pretty well there is Link. Now, your biggies, Bitcoin and Ethereum are up. Ethereum's up 1.6, and Bitcoin is there up 2.9. and has probably been up 3%, if not more, this morning as well. So we're going to go ahead and move away from crypto. We've done a decent amount of analysis on it. Let's look at the metals. Metals are unmoved today. Look at that. Silver and gold both not moving from the zero mark. So that's very interesting. We'll leave those alone for now. Mega cap tech stocks, mixed for the most part, but Apple and Microsoft are actually green, doing really well there. Google still not recovering from yesterday's sell-off, as it is still in the red. And then Tesla and Meta also red, but Amazon getting bought this morning to the tune of 0.8%. That's good. One thing I'll note about Apple is they're opening their first brick and mortar store in India. So it's the very first store that you will be able to buy iPhones in India. I can only imagine the line that will be there. So very, very interesting. Let us know in the chat if you live and if you're watching this from India or somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I think there's a major community in India.
Yeah.
So
very cool. All right. Well, moving into our bonds, the bond yields are actually coming down this morning. The benchmark 10-year down 0.6% there in the early 6 minutes here of trading. Dixie, we'll go ahead and click into it because it is down 0.2%. It has had a little bit of a run back up ever since April 14th. It's had a little bit of a run back up, but is looking like it's not going to even put in new highs here to try to compete with those 102.5 numbers there back that it was able to put in April 10th. So it's looking like, it's going to just come back down and get back into this discount range on the daily chart, the chart prime discount range there.
So, I do think
what do you think?
There is a falling level of resistance. The Dixie could climb a little higher. If you share my screen real quick, Piper, you guys can see going back. I'm on the hourly chart, but you can see it on the 4-hour chart as well. There's a little bit of a falling level of resistance we didn't quite get to. You guys can also see that 4-hour dynamic reactor. We haven't touched it yet, but that's another thing that's starting to come in line with that. I don't think this is going to crush Bitcoin and crypto whatsoever. It would still be lower highs in a bear trend, but I just want to make sure people understand this. There is a trend line that was not touched that could be seen as a bullish sign that the bulls for the Dixie or the bears for crypto can't even get it back up there. But we're on a green candle here on the 4-hour chart. Don't be surprised if we do see the Dixie come back up, maybe closer towards 102, maybe kiss 102, but that's still a level of falling and lower highs. Just want to make sure bring that to your attention. In case the Dixie does pump, you guys aren't like, what the heck happened? I thought we were in a downtrend. No, like this still would be part of a bear trend for the Dixie, setting lower lows, setting lower highs, but it could go a little higher, just for your information.
Very nice, very nice. Well, we'll go ahead and skip past cannabis. Cannabis is mixed. One of these days, I'm gonna do a little bit of a blurb on why I have cannabis on my watch list.
Can we not skip the cannabis?
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
Tilray up 0.6, CGC down 0.3, and MJ down 0.4 there for all of you cannabis lovers, cannabis degens out there. All right. You've been getting hurt, as I have. You've been getting hurt with those investments. All right. Making sure we get into our mid-cap tech stocks here. I've got Coinbase pulled up because it is up 0.4%. It is up 2.5%, excuse me. Workhorse up 0.8%. So your mid-cap tech stocks are actually doing pretty well this morning, guys. Now, I know Workhorse isn't purely a tech company. It's a little bit different. But let's take a look here at Coinbase because it actually on the daily chart is doing something interesting. It could be validating this higher low, much higher low, and bucking the trend of coming back and touching the dynamic reactor before moving higher. So we shall see what happens today. We want to see a close. Sorry about the zoom there, guys. We want to see a close on Coinbase above $68.11. If we can get that, then that will mean we've confirmed that this candlestick, which is a very bullish candlestick, by the way, with the wick that low to then close up above that halfway point on the wick, very bullish. If it can close up above again, 68.22, somewhere around there, that could be very bullish for Coinbase. And we're very interested in seeing that happen for it to get back up into that equilibrium zone, form some good structure, and then move higher. This is the daily chart. Moving on into our big banks, guys, here. The big banks becoming more and more of a story as Goldman Sachs is selling off. Has to do with their earnings, but it is down 3%, guys. What happened to all the money moving from the regional banks into the big banks? Well, we don't know. It must not have gone to Goldman Sachs, that's for sure. So here we go. Also, it's mixed. So you got Citibank and Wells Fargo up marginally, and JP Morgan and Bank of America down, along with Goldman Sachs. Are there other big banks? I believe so. I think New York Mellon is probably worthy of being on there, but I added Citibank, Goldman Sachs, and Wells Fargo to my big bank watch list this morning. Your oil producers are down. Moving on into our promos for the day. Tim, tell them what they've won. Just kidding. Inform our audience of some of the things that are exciting you that are coming up.
Bubblies, blueberry pomegranate flavored, are exciting me coming up with my blurry camera also, because Gainesville Wi-Fi apparently sucks.
Yeah. Your Wi-Fi.
No, I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm excited for you guys. Piper and I talked about this morning. You guys are going to be in Austin, Texas next week. I'm going to be stuck here in Gainesville while I'm finishing up the packing up, because we're moving to Atlanta. My wife, my 2 pups, and myself. So that's exciting, but it comes with that sadness of I still will not get to meet Piper in person just yet. But, maybe God knows something we don't know, and maybe it wasn't time for us.
Well, he definitely knows something we don't know.
It's true.
He definitely knows.
Thank you for the clarity. Yeah, you're right. But someday, Piper, we will
someday.
We'll officially dab it up. We will be in-person friends. And guess what? Next year, Lord willing, I will be at all of the conferences, hopefully.
Right. And I'll be able to see you in high def.
That's right.
It's true. That's the other thing I'm very excited about. I mean, so I should be, because those you don't know, this is newsflash for you guys, but I'm joining the Hit Network team. I'm working there. It does not mean I'm leaving Investing Bros. Still going to be doing the show, and I'll get to be in the studio doing the show. So the Wi-Fi there is very reliable. They pay top dollar for it. They cannot have that go out. So things like right now where you see me in about 5 pixels on this Gainesville Wi-Fi should not be a continuation for the Investing.
I don't know. I think
I'm watching myself.
T-Shroom looks great, and you guys are in the same room, so I think it's something.
I'm connected to the Ethernet cord. Like that was a problem before. We're like, oh, is Tim's computer just a Wi-Fi problem?
I think it's your computer, man. I think your computer processor's just lagging.
No, it's not that. We'll see. All right. Well,
I'm excited about good Wi-Fi and less processing of my computer. I guess apparently
we aren't we aren't really sure if Tyler Hall is going to be on the show or if Crypto Archie is going to be on the show tomorrow. Tyler Hill. So we will see who is going to be on tomorrow. It's going to be a mystery bonus card. It's going to be like those airheads with the mystery airheads. So we shall see. Whoa, that was loud. Yeah.
That was nice.
So with that said, are we ready to go ahead and
I'm
move
excited
into
about
the
another
stories?
thing.
What are you excited about?
There's a possibility right now that's on this exact show that could happen. Right now we have 123 people watching, but only 70 likes, which means at the very least there are 53 people that have not smashed the like button that absolutely can do so. More realistically, I'm going to guess there's probably closer towards 70. We can get the likes above 100 within the next 5 minutes as we jump into our news talk, which you don't want to go away because we got some this news had been a little bit dry over the last week or so. Today, not the case. We got a lot of juicy stories to discuss.
Juicy.
But smash the like button first, subscribe to the channel second, and then we'll get into the news here. News talk.
Juicy. All right. Let's do it. Let's get into it. All right. We're going to start off with some news from the AI front. Not going to spend too much time on this, but Elon Musk announced yesterday on Tucker Carlson on Fox News that Elon Musk to launch truth-seeking artificial intelligence platform Truth GPT. So pretty interesting there. He said, I'm going to start something which I call Truth GPT, or a maximum truth-seeking AI that tries to understand the nature of the universe. Okay. I think this might be the best path to safety in the sense that an AI that cares about understanding the universe is unlikely to annihilate humans because we are on an interesting part of the universe. Okay. And then lastly, the overall trend shows that Bitcoin acts as a safe haven during times of financial instability, such as the recent Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank failures. Additionally, Bitcoin dominance is nearly 50% of some analysts predict a move towards 100K. So that's something I believe that AI was producing. So that was included in this article as well. Very interesting there. We shall see how that goes over. Elon Musk has been very outspoken not really hating ChatGPT, but being very disappointed in how fast they're moving. And he also was an early investor in ChatGPT, and it kind of got away from him. So there's a pretty big and popular and trending interview with Tucker Carlson that he was on, and you will probably see that if you continue your scrolling on YouTube today.
Did you see the interview he had with the guy from the BBC? If
I
people
did
have
see
not
that.
seen that interview, that is a great video to go watch. Just exposing the, yeah. I mean, I put on Twitter a couple days ago. It's the perfect Uno reverse card, because he just calls out the irony and the hypocrisy of the BBC like crazy. Other thing, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this one. There's another one while we're on the topic. Do you guys see? He's the Prime Minister of Canada? Canada has a Prime Minister.
I think so. Yeah,
Trudeau or whatever. Kind of like.
Yes,
Borderline crying, whining about Elon Musk and Twitter posting that there are government agents, a government media that he puts on there now, 100% funded by the government, and Trudeau pretty much like crying about why that is happening and how it's not fair and it's stopping democracy. And it's just like, listen, if you don't care about funding them, then people shouldn't worry. Or if you think that's a bad look, maybe stop funding the media, let them just be a business and do their own thing. But yeah, it is crazy. As someone pointed out in chat, they're like, it's crazy that he's using the same word truth, the way Trump did for Twitter.
Right.
But I think he's really trying to get into, he says in that BBC interview, he gets in there, is like, who are you pretty much to say what's factual and what's not factual? Like, you think everyone should listen to BBC, but he's like, has BBC ever gotten anything wrong? And the interview was like, yeah, probably. He's like, okay, so same thing. Who tells us when information is false information or real information? Let the listener decide. And so that's kind of makes sense. He's going with the word truth, because I think that's a big thing to him, is that you can't regulate truth.
Yep. Well, speaking of big things, Gala Games is going to airdrop version 2 tokens in May. And that is why more than likely we're seeing a precipitous incline in the price per coin there of Gala Games. The version 2 tokens will be dropped at a 1-to-1 basis to holders of the current Gala version 1 tokens. The V1 tokens are not intended to hold any value following the V2 token issuance, developers said. So very interesting development there for Gala Games, and is looking to be very, very bullish. Moving along, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler caught shilling Algorand, now deems it a security. So very interesting movement. There is, I like that. The edge there on his suit collar. That's pretty cool. Let's get into the details here, though, guys. At one point in the clip of Gary Gensler, Gary speaks highly of Italian computer scientist Silvio Macali, the project's founder. Silvio Algorand, he's a Turing Award winner at MIT. I work with Silvio. Got a great technology. It has performance. You could create Uber on top of it. Moreover, so those were Gensler's comments that were, congratulatory there. Moreover, Gensler appears to have been speaking highly of Algorand at multiple public events since at least 2019. Well, now he's calling it a security. So this is definitely very problematic. That this man is continuing to just run afoul and just fumble through the job that he's supposed to be doing, which is bringing regulatory clarity to a new, burgeoning, and innovative industry. And it looks to be that there is a case mounting for his expulsion from his current chairman position. So we shall see how that will be moving forward. There's, again, mounting FUD against. That's right. There's mounting FUD against Gary, and hopefully he will be out very, very soon. He is a man who definitely understands the power of blockchain, but it is not clear that he is not in bed with just a bunch of big actors and is trying to just, line the pockets of specific interest groups for his own benefit as well. It's the old get the frat bros rich, and you got to do that. You get one of the guys in government, you get the other guys in the private sector, and you just churn and burn. It's not obvious that he's not doing that.
We speculated on this yesterday also. When you say big actors, I'm assuming you're talking about government entities, because we were talking about yesterday how Swift is now going to be forming their own CBDC to do cross country transactions at a very quick rate. They're going to have blockchain technology into it. So it's like, hey, I think he put on Twitter that over the time he's been the chairman of the SEC, they've had 1,500 different regulatory actions, and
Mm-hmm.
in which case not very many of them have been successful whatsoever. But has he been a player, a puppet being used just to try to slow down decentralized cryptocurrency adoption as much as possible to buy time for entities like Swift and government entities to start building CBDCs, a way
Mm-hmm.
more centralized, invasive form of blockchain technology for cryptocurrency? Has he just been a ploy this whole time? As he like that's another reason why he might lose his job is he might not even be upset about it. This might have been the plan the entire time. Is Gary, you're going to be hated by the masses,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to serve us very well, and we'll take care of you very well. And his time and usefulness might be coming to a close, to
Mm-hmm.
where, of course, the public hates him. But how long before the government entities are like, all right, that was your purpose. Thank you. We'll take care of you on later, and we'll give you what you're worth. You did your job. Thank you, and move on.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. Well, and this will ring true. Also, this will kind of play into some more stories that are coming up here in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on into Polygon calls on EU lawmakers to address smart contracts in their Data Act. So while we're stagnant over here in the United States, with a fool kind of stopping up the flow of good policy, Europe is going ahead and taking some steps forward. And Polygon is trying to weigh in. Polygon Labs proposed Article 30 under the Data Act be amended to apply to permissioned smart contract-based systems owned and operated by an enterprise, as opposed to permissionless under the current wording. Polygon Labs has an interest in the matter because we seek to ensure the growth and responsible development of permissionless blockchain systems globally, said the letter. We respectfully request that you consider the proposed revisions to Article 30 to ensure that this new law does not inadvertently capture open, transparent, and permissionless parts of emerging blockchain technology. So Polygon kind of getting ahead there of the policy that is moving forward, and over in Europe, and I believe that's MiCA that is being amended there, or that is being proposed to be amended for the EU's pretty comprehensive crypto regulation. So then this is also, the kind of the next step here in a pivot to the EU for crypto potentially. So before we get into that, let's take a fun little pop here through Nike unveiling its first .swoosh NFT digital sneaker drop. I took a second to go over to their website, and it's a very scrollable website. You gotta love this. Look at this video, super cool. .swoosh is the home for Nike's virtual creations. Join us. So check it out. I don't know that I'll be buying anything from Nike here, not for any specific reason, but it's not hard enough on my radar, but they definitely have put some work into this website. Love the design. It's a lot of fun. All right, well, moving on. That was Nike. Uniswap's V3 to launch on Polygon ZK EVM. So this is also some pretty exciting developments. Uniswap coming out with their V3, and moving forward with that, this could bring obviously a lot more traffic to the new ZK EVM there on Polygon. So not going to get too much into that, but for those of you who know, you know. So baby, let's get into it. This is kind of the big story of the day. Coinbase could move away from the US if no regulatory clarity. This is from CEO Brian Armstrong there. So very, very important. Let's see what he has to say. He's quoted as saying, anything is on the table, including relocating or whatever is necessary. He said after former UK Chancellor George Osborne asked whether he could see Coinbase leaving the US at FinTech Week in London. He also said, I think the US has the potential to be an important market for crypto, but right now we are not seeing that regulatory clarity that we need. He said, I think in a number of years, if we don't see that regulatory clarity emerge in the US, we may consider investing more elsewhere in the world. So he's giving it a good runway, a good timeline there. He's not saying we're going to move tomorrow or by the end of the month, but he is starting to get frustrated. Brian goes on to say, we actually have contradictory statements from the heads of the CFTC and the SEC coming out almost every few weeks. How's a business going to operate in that environment? We just want a clear rule book. And this has been the kind of the chorus that has been sung again and again by the major operators in crypto. We just want a clear rule book, but the U.S. government, specifically manned by This guy right here has refused to deliver that, and maybe there's good reason behind it, but it's looking more and more like it's not good reason. It's looking more and more like it's not going slow for the purpose of quality in the style of Cardano. It's more, well, we're nefarious actors, and we're trying to position these entities in a way that we can capture the most value and the most transactions for TradFi and for the establishment of finance. So we shall see who's going to be the big winner: the US, the EU, the UK. Could it be another player like Japan? Could China flip and go pro crypto? Could it be Australia, or Brazil, or Argentina? We don't know, but it's not looking good for the US, and it's because of this man right here. All right. Well, moving into our last story.
Well, hold on. I think let's talk about that for a little bit.
I don't want to talk. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, okay. So Matt C put in chat here just a second ago. He said that's so deep state of you. My take earlier, where I was like, was he the puppet the whole time? Let's keep playing this out and how much this would make sense. First of all of these CBDCs that are being launched here within the last couple of months. Guess what, guys? CBDCs do not just spring up over a period of a couple of weeks. This takes months, if not years, to do. What has he been doing? He has been going after crypto for the last couple of months. You start with Ripple and XRP for multiple years now. You also start to look at things of like, hey, this confusion that is happening right now that is causing all this anger. I mean, Brian Armstrong, I go back to early on. Like, this is back in 2021. I remember Brian Armstrong being very adamant about, hey, we will play by the rules. Just let us know what the rules are. It has been over 2 years and there have been no rules made. Do we think that is, I mean, I'll back off for a second. Is that because the government is just incapable of actually being of cooperating? Yeah, that's probably part of it. But also, do you not think that's part of possibly what's going on, that they want that much confusion happening in the space right now while they're still trying? This is what happened. The government, cryptocurrency just went crazy over the last couple of years, and they don't have control. They love having control, and they didn't have it. So they needed to do something so they could figure out what was going on so that they could have control. They're catching up. I think we're seeing politicians be a little more pro-crypto. We're seeing CBDCs coming out. We're seeing these banks become pro-crypto. They're catching up to what they were falling behind in. And Gary Gensler and the SEC have played a massive role in helping delay the adoption, the mass adoption of cryptocurrency. And I think again, is it deep state thinking? Yeah, it is. But does it not make sense logically that that's what they would want to have? The government wants control, and they lost it there. And they're starting to think that they might be able to start grabbing it back with these CBDCs. Brian Armstrong, also, while we're sitting here, I want to hear what Piper has to say about that as well. But when we're talking about where he might go, we read in that article, T-Shirt, he referenced that this was an interview he had in the UK. But if you guys are on, go to my screen real quick here, Piper. If you guys follow Brian Armstrong on Twitter, almost everything he's posted here recently, I guess he's in the UK doing things, but it's just been massive shout outs of how awesome how highly he thinks of the UK, of how highly he thinks of their the person right here, I guess, the UK economic secretary and city minister, how much he likes him. Again, he didn't say that like they're moving tomorrow or the next couple of days, but if there's not results here very soon about clear, very, very clear regulation, I think at this point, the UK has got to be the front runner for where Brian Armstrong would be relocating Coinbase. What do you think about that, Piper? And what are your thoughts about some of the stuff I was saying earlier about the timeline of Gary Gensler causing all this chaos in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that the powers that be are trying. I don't know that it's so much full-on nefarious approach to it, but definitely like, look, we know that if this gets out of hand, it's going to crush our banking system, right? First off. So I think they're trying to stifle the growth rate until they can figure out exactly what is not damaging, but still, allows innovation, because at the end of the day, they do want innovation and technology. I mean, there's even some cryptos out there that the Air Force has looked at how can they use blockchain for their logistic layout. So, I mean, the technology itself they're supportive of. I just think it's their biggest fear is that the Ponzi scheme of the fiat system is going to get completely destroyed by the presence of crypto in the space. So, one thing that I will point out though about Brian Armstrong going to the UK, I I think the UK is a good place for him to have his business, but I wonder what their tax rates are like in comparison to other places he could go. So
Interesting. That's a fair
I
point.
think there could
Well,
be
doesn't
better
Ireland have some of the
places.
lowest tax rates? I think
Ireland
that's what.
does, yes, but
Yeah.
if he's going
And
to go
the
to
UK.
it is,
That-
but I would I would not think it's going to be like down in like London or anything like that. I would think that he would want to go and grab those better tax rates for corporate. So like Ireland or maybe someplace down in the Dubai.
Tyler Main makes a good point. He said, "What if Brian moves to one of the BRICS countries?" And he said, "Brazil, perhaps. Brazil is very hungry for cryptocurrency." And yeah, I don't know what the tax rate and everything is, but that could be an interesting location as well.
Just to clarify, so that we don't gooberize ourselves anymore, the island of Ireland comprises the Republic of Ireland, which is a sovereign country, Northern Ireland, which is a part of the United Kingdom. So I don't know. I think it's Ireland proper, the Republic of Ireland, that has those favorable tax rates for companies like Google. And then Northern Ireland, I would imagine, doesn't. But it is part of the UK. So Ireland, not part of the UK.
Today's geography lesson was brought to you by Lieutenant Shrum.
That's right. Almost Lieutenant.
Can we trust the man that thinks that Chicago is a state?
I don't.
Is really the question here about geography.
That one's cutting deep, Tim.
So
it's cutting deep. Well, before we get into the Q&A section, we do have earnings that we wanted to touch on a little bit, and we might move this section somewhere else, but we're gonna cover this right now before we get into the Q&A here. This is Earnings Watch from SeekingAlpha.com. U.S. indices closed higher on Monday as stronger than expected Q1 results at Charles Schwab, overweight, lower fee revenues, and shrinking deposit at State Street through the session was quite choppy. That is a very long sentence. Bank of America and Goldman Sachs will follow up with their quarterly figures this morning. Those already came out, and as you saw, Goldman Sachs sell off to the tune of 3% before the earnings parade bring out streaming heavyweight Netflix after the bell, as well as EV leader Tesla tomorrow. So Tesla's coming tomorrow. Netflix will be today after the bell, which is 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then snapshot here, earnings for S&P 500 companies are expected to have declined 4.8% year over year in the first quarter, according to data from Refinitiv, marking the second consecutive drop in year over year earnings growth. While this would translate into the first earnings recession since the pandemic, it could be somewhat of a good sign. Inflation is coming down, which is weighing on pricing and profit margins while the economy is still growing, with many firms reporting strong top-line figures. A bigger problem could arise if executives start issuing downbeat forecasts or companies surprise investors with some serious or severe quarterly losses. So that there's more here, but that is really the long and short of what has been going on in earnings so far here in the United States. And it's been important to watch because really bad earnings could spell a sharper down trend there and a quicker recession and more of a harder landing there for the Fed. So that's something we're going to continue to bring you is updates on earnings as we are in the beginning of earnings season. And guys, today that Netflix print is going to be pretty big, and then tomorrow we get that EV leader Tesla.
How many years do you think Netflix has left? I think it's
of operation.
Yeah,
no, they're very close. So they've I don't know if you've been tracking this, Tim, but they streamed yesterday for the first time a live show. And Amanda, my girlfriend, was very upset because it was late. It was delayed. It's like one of her favorite shows. She loves this show. I can't stand it, but it's anyway. But they had also streamed live while I was on the cruise. The very first their very first live stream ever. It was a comedian and Chris Rock. Right. Okay. So that one went well. This one that they did yesterday didn't go well. But what's important is that they're going to be getting into sports. They want to do sports streaming. There's a couple of European soccer leagues that I don't think are really claimed here domestically too strongly or could be potentially cheap on that market. So I think Netflix has a ways to go. They're very dominant in the space still, even with streaming services like Amazon
dominant
and Hulu.
You think dominant? You think that's a good word for Netflix?
I do. I mean, they took a big hit in, what was it, 2001, I believe. We can go over their charts. It's actually not one that I really track very often, but they have since retraced a good amount. So let's check them out.
I know that they're grasping at straws to make my point here is I think Netflix is losing a lot. I mean, especially, they just have made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. First of all, content, they made a lot of their fan base very angry with some of the content they chose to go down. I'm not going to get into all the details and the politics of it, but they lost a lot of people that way. And then, one of the things that was almost universal across at least the United States, and I'm assuming other countries as well, is the concept of buying one account, getting a major one so you can have multiple computers on it, and then sharing the password with friends and families. So they decide we're going to shut that down and you can't share passwords. That pissed the audience off. And of course they've gone back and they've tried to take it back, but it's too late. They have just been a bad decision machine month after month after month. And hey, it's great. I love the concept of them trying to get into sports, but guess what? I mean, you already got Hulu. Hulu's been sitting in that boat now for a little bit. You have all these other options. I think that you're just going to, my personal opinion, I put it in chat. Most people disagree. It looks at this point, 78% saying they're still going to be here in 5 years. I think Netflix is a company that could be in very real trouble because, again, unless they just completely change their leadership team has been on a bad idea streak for a while now. And with the uptick of things like Amazon Prime, like Hulu, there's others as well. Those are the ones that I use. Definitely those other two. I think Netflix is in trouble long term. I'm not predicting a death by the end of this year by any means, but 5 years from now, I don't think it's crazy to say that I don't think Netflix is going to be around anymore.
Yeah. Well, going over to my screen really quickly, you can see here I've got a Netflix chart. I've got a decent amount of noise here, though. Let me see if I can. Where are the I can't. It looks like I can't turn them. Okay, there they are. So I'll leave the Oracle on. But as you can see here, it took a giant haircut it was 2001. And as you can see, it went down 76%. I don't remember exactly what that
2021, was. Not 2001.
2021. I'm sorry. Yes.
Very big difference in the States.
There is. I appreciate that, Tim. So 2001 would have been when they started their shellacking on Blockbuster Video, if you guys remember that cursed name. But so that was, I believe this was because they drastically missed their subscriber projections. And so this started to, really take a huge hit. But now that they've reached this baseline, they've flipped the dynamic reactor green and haven't looked back since.
And they're holding on.
And this is on.
If we know anything about the executives at Netflix, they're watching the dynamic reactor to know. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But someone said in chat here, Amelo Fellow makes a great point. He said, "Tim, I feel you. They also canceled a few of my favorite shows that were on there. Pissed me off." Well, guess what? I'm not going to say that this one show alone carried them, but let's be honest, it kind of carried them.
What?
When they got rid of they didn't get rid of. They lost the rights to The Office. That was for me, that's when I started becoming a pessimist about Netflix. And then Peacock's up here now. Peacock is taking back all their NBC shows. Are there some Netflix originals that are pretty good? Yeah, there were. But I can tell you this right now. The ones from a couple years ago, I was a big fan of them. The more recent ones, I'm not saying they're all terrible, but the more recent, it's you're getting way more misses from Netflix originals than you are hits. And just watch. That's the thing. They're banking right now on the fact that they've been able, with the money they have, to get in some of these better directors. And I wish Smay was here because he could talk more about this, because this is his world. But they're getting actors and directors. How long before? Have you guys been watching? Did anyone have Apple TV? I have been on an Apple TV kick. The Apple TV originals are amazing. Netflix, I feel like, is going in a downward trajectory when it comes to their originals, where these others are starting to pick it back up. How long before these directors and actors say, you know what, Netflix just aren't doing it for me? You're pissing everybody off. You're losing money. The views are dropping. I don't want those roles anymore. I'm going to go to a different channel and find some things. Matt C just put in Ted Lasso. Amazing. There's one I just watched. There's some things in there that I might not be completely on board with, but I thought the writing of, there's a show called Shrinking. Not a family show, lots of language in it, but the writing and just the storyline of it, I thought it was really good. Whoever directed and did this, they got some great actors in there, and it was a very entertaining show. When it comes to Netflix, it's just, I don't know. There's been letdowns for me, and this conversation got away from us. This isn't a Netflix streaming show, but there's a difference of opinion here. So
for sure. Well, their earnings are going to be coming out today, so we'll see. Kind of how things are panning out there month over month. But Piper, we want to get the Piper take on Netflix. Yeah. I don't know that you watch too many streaming services.
I have them all.
Okay.
I do. Seriously, I have everything.
Rank them for us, Piper. What's the best? What's the worst?
Oh, good Lord. So It's a tie between Hulu because I have Hulu Live.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of things that are on Hulu. Plus, I get all of my other content there. Next up has got to be Apple TV Plus.
Yeah,
it has to be. Like Apple TV
doing
Plus
great.
has got the best series around, man, and their movies are phenomenal. Then I would have to go. I'd have to go Amazon because they've got like Jack Ryan and all that on there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then it would have to be Netflix and then like CBS. I don't know. No, CBS All Access I even put above Netflix. Because CBS All Access has Discovery and Picard and, so.
We're also talking about kids stuff because Netflix used to also be a great place for kids. Now you got Disney Plus, more connected with Hulu. If I'm a parent looking for something for my kids, I'm not buying Netflix and letting them loose on Netflix. I'm going to let them loose on Disney Plus.
But from an investment standpoint, which streaming stock is going to earn your dollars if you had to invest in streaming?
Well,
I mean, I would say Amazon is better than Netflix.
Yeah,
but,
I would say Amazon or Apple because they've got more than just streaming. So,
yeah.
Plus, with Amazon Prime, you also get Walmart Plus for free now. I think that's what I saw the other day there.
Really?
And what's really cool is that if you have there was something else too. I don't remember what it was. Like there's this whole network. Like if you have this, you get this for free, and if you have this, you get this for free. That gives you this for free. So yeah, it's pretty good. Terminal List.
Netflix.
Yes, I did. Terminal List was really good. I did watch Terminal List. Matt C just asked me that.
You know what I just finished was The Last of Us. That's on HBO Max, and man,
awesome.
That was such a good show.
Awesome.
There's so many. Like I just don't think that when we're talking about these great new shows that are coming out, it's not Netflix. Like even some of the ones that were there, like I'm maybe people disagree. I thought this latest Stranger Things series, which is a great series, I thought it was a little bit of a letdown. I did not think that this most recent Stranger Things series was as good as the first couple. I think it's starting to lose its flavor.
You know what's interesting is I use my Apple TV box as my streaming, right? And so Stars is with Amazon Prime too. But I watch it all through there. And if I click on like something that I'm watching on Hulu or something that's on Disney Plus, something that's whatever it is, it will show up as in my watch next list under Apple, right? So it consolidates all this metadata from all my streaming services, and they're right there. When a new episode comes in, it's there, right? For all of them, except for Netflix. It will not show me what the new episode that I'm watching on Netflix is out, or a movie that I put in my watch list is available. Like it will not do it at all. So I don't know if there's just some hatred there for Netflix from Apple, or if Netflix's coding just doesn't talk right like everyone else's does. I don't know what the deal is there, but so annoying that I have to go directly to my Netflix to look for something. So
let's wrap this up and get into some questions here. Q&A. Everyone in chat right now. Chat engagement is great. Put your favorite streaming service. Doesn't mean you hate all the rest of them, but everyone put your favorite streaming service that you guys have, and we will see what the results look like. Also, you guys can go ahead and start asking some questions. What do you want to ask questions? We can keep talking about streaming services. We can talk TA.
While they're doing that, I have an announcement.
Ooh, what's your announcement?
So we were going to have Tyler Hill on tomorrow, but it looks like he is not feeling well. He tried to do his live stream today, so he doesn't want to come on and do his debut with the Investing Bros and be all ucky and sick. So I have reached out to Crypto Archie, and Crypto Archie is going to come on tomorrow, and he's going to talk about the growth rate of small caps and new projects coming out. Has it slowed down or has it sped up with all of the regulation stuff that's going on? And he's going to talk about what he's seen because he's got his finger on that pulse. And so he can tell us, I've seen a definitive slowdown or a speed up, or it's about the same, or, innovation doesn't halt because of regulations. We'll see what he has to say tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. So I'm excited.
Wow, I'm excited. I mean, it's sad about Tyler Hill. I was looking forward to him being on here, but we'll get him on again very soon. Oh,
we absolutely will.
It's gonna be great to have Archie back on. So you guys are in for a treat tomorrow. Those of you who are now big Archie fans, I'm so excited.
It's a double Archie time tomorrow. It's a double Archie.
You get a lot of questions. You'll probably get more questions in the
TA talk.
And it's more intimate there. But you don't want to miss either one of those shows. So make sure you guys get in both of those. Let's see here. Maddie, Matty
Ratsters.
Love
yep.
Archie. I'm in his Patreon, and it is well worth it. Matty, which level? He's got a lot of levels in his Patreon. Let's see here.
We have a lot of our community that's over there in his thing.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's Crypto Archie right there, the
Overcome
man, the myth, the legend.
Xbox Live.
Dang.
Let's see.
Sliding right on in.
Not necessarily a lot of questions. You guys are putting up. We got Matt C says Apple is the best. OC Peter says Netflix. What else do we have here? GS says I use Prime and YouTube. Yeah, that's the other one. YouTube. Obviously, YouTube itself, the free version is great. Then you pay to get the ads taken away. And then there's YouTube Live TV, which they got a good amount of movies and stuff.
I got to say, though, Netflix does have my Cobra Kai. And I got to watch Cobra Kai because, it's my 80s roots there. So
we'll allow it to exist for a little while longer. But that's my whole point. Thanks. Is that as that business is just going downhill, how long more? I think it's going to happen is it's going to be like these other streamers that are picking up momentum are going to start buying the rights to some Netflix shows. If they change leadership at Netflix, maybe they can make it. Like if they change their leadership team, but again, they've just been one big bad idea.
We're
gonna
have to be careful with these earnings because it has triggered Tim. Tim
has
has a lot to say.
I'm telling you right now, days like this is where I'm like, man, I miss Smay. Smay would be having a field day with this show today.
Let me channel the Smay. Okay. Netflix is it's like an experience. HBO Max is it's like a tool. You're flipping through. It's like, am I even really watching this? And whereas Netflix, it's like, I get my popcorn, I get my phone, I'm going to be texting people, and I'm entering into the sanctuary of Netflix. And I really like what the CEO
he does more with his hands, though.
He does because Netflix is so much more. You know what I mean? So. That's my Smay. That wasn't my best Smay, but it was a Smay.
Even I feel good about this. Crypto Archie agrees with me. He says Netflix is ran by weirdos. What was that show that got canceled? Listen, Archie's a great guy.
The twerking show.
Yeah. That was why my parents ended it. That they didn't like that. But I watched Ben Shapiro had a little bit more of a nuanced spin. I can't remember all that, but yeah, I ended up keeping it because of it wasn't The Office. It was New Girl, which is now gone. It's on Hulu. Again. So I'm questioning. Other than Community, we love to watch Community. That show is so freaking hilarious and creative.
Funny too.
Cuties, that was it. Crypto Archie, Cuties. That was the name of the show.
Yeah. So other than
what a weird show. Yeah. Even the name,
very weird.
Especially when you find out what the show's about. Yeah.
So cringe.
Yeah. It was the reason why it was ended up. I don't want to get back into this. Never mind. Cuties. It was definitely weird. I never saw it. I don't have any desire to see it, but it was definitely a strange call from the Netflix the Netflix staff there.
Too Defiant says hashtag bring Smay back. I wish. He's doing good though. He's got a nice job. He's I think for him, crypto wasn't necessarily his cup of tea. So getting away from crypto was good for him, and maybe someday he keeps telling me that someday he'll come on the show, but then I never actually get him to do it. And he works now, so he's probably even right now as we're doing the show working. But maybe I can get him. Maybe I can get some behind the scenes footage of Smay, especially I think he's supposed to help me pack up and stuff.
We could go film him as he's getting in and out of his car.
I mean, I know where he works. He works right down the street, so yeah, we could definitely go.
Smay, what's your take on Cuties? Smay,
he'd be like, "What?
Is Netflix going under?
Oh my god!
What did you think of Netflix's? We could. That would be a funny thing to yeah."
Do Nato says this may still fit.
It's Donato.
No. He told us earlier. It's Do Nato. Right?
I think it's
Do Nato.
No, he said you still didn't say it right after that. I think it's
no.
Listen, he typed in DOE-NAH TOE Do Na To
Donato.
Maybe it's Donato. Maybe he's a big NATO.
He said I said it right. Donato. If I said it right, say Piper. If Tim said it right, say Tim.
Yeah, it's Donato. It's Donato.
Piper. Yes, I said it right. Donato.
You know what? I'm just gonna call him Cabrera then. at the end of the day, I'm not liking this first name.
Oh, typical
Wait,
YouTuber.
say it
Don't
one
want
more
to
time.
admit when you're wrong and change your stance. That's cool.
Say it again. Say it one more time. Say it one more time. Because I could have sworn he typed in DOE for like dough. Did he just put DO?
It's Donato. Donato. Yes.
This episode is getting away from us. What else do we have here?
But you know what? I think the people are enjoying the banter. But we should probably move on from this. So.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. But anyway, what you originally asked, Donato, he's May definitely. Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to get May to stop fishing. He loves his fishing. I don't know how frequently though. He hasn't invited me in a while. Maybe I'm not a very good fisherman. I don't know. What else do we have? There's not a lot of questions today. Brian D said he never did a hobbit on his walk to Mordor. He never did find a hobbit on his walk to Mordor. No, to my knowledge at this point, he has not. So yeah.
That's going to be T-Shroom when he's going through OCS. He's going to feel like he's walking to Mordor with a hobbit on his back.
Yeah, we got a little time. I could tell a story from this weekend. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. So we had to ruck 6 miles. We got up at 3:30 a.m.
It was uphill both ways.
It was not. Yeah, it was uphill one way. Okay, so we had the base that we started at, and then we went all the way out in the woods, and then we walked all the way back. Well, on the way out there, I asked some of my fellow candidates. I was like, "Hey guys, so we're doing this 3 times. We're walking all the way out and coming back 3 times." And they were like, "Yeah." And they misunderstood me, and that played a big role in my mental dealings with this task, because it was starting to break me down. I was like gauging, this is going to be insane to walk all the way there and all the way back. Well, what I was calculating out would have amounted to 18 miles rucking with 35 pounds on my back.
That would be fun.
And that would have been insane. And I was mentally preparing, like, these guys are going to find out I can't do this. I'm going to fail. I'm going to get recycled. What's
I got
going to
blisters
happen?
on my feet just even hearing that.
But then on the way back from the far point, I appreciate you guys respecting my story. Thank you. On the way back, I see a sign that says 2 miles left. And I turn to my candidates and I'm like, oh man, that would be so nice if we only had 2 miles left. And they said, we do, Shrum. We do have 2 miles left. And I was like, what? You guys said we're doing this 3 times. And they were like, no, we said we were doing sprints 3 times. And then I started like almost tearing up in joy, because I realized I'm not going to fail this. In fact, I'm well ahead of the curve. And I ended up doing 6 miles with 35 pounds in an hour and 35 minutes. So
how about that go get 'em
excited.
attitude, though? You started off an 18-mile hike.
Yeah.
With no argument.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Now, I will say my body is not the body that it will be in the future, but in the future, I will have to do a 12-mile hike, a 12-mile ruck. And that's going to be pretty intense, but I will have a Superman body by then, hopefully. So,
T-Shroom, this is why you have NCOs, because you would have had the Joes going out on an 18-mile hike because you misunderstood what your commander said, and your first sergeant and platoon sergeant is going to be like, sir, just stop, follow me. Sir, just stop. This is why there's NCOs.
The stereotype is true for young, wet behind the ears, green lieutenants to be, I should say. So the stereotype definitely holds.
I walked up to my lieutenant once because their rank is the little single bar sticking up, and I pulled off his Velcro and turned it sideways, and I said, well, there was a minus sign, and I said, you're now Lieutenant Minus. You don't get to speak until I tell you you can, sir.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty hilarious.
Hey, do what you got to do. Got to do what
and
you got to do
said,
to keep the
salute me
lieutenants
right
in line.
now. Did he make you salute him in that moment?
No,
salute me right now.
I was already in his presence. When I walked up to him, I would have saluted him. But
yeah. Well, welcome to the chat, JT Skinner. Don't know what you just walked into. Even us, the 3 of us putting on the show, don't even know what the show has become at this point. But that's sometimes
it's bro time. It's bro time 2.0.
I mean, this is the equivalency of sometimes bro time gets to this point. There's some great conversations still happening there, but I saw earlier Brian D said, "I'm loving this show. This is my only human interaction." It's pretty
that's
funny.
Not true.
I feel you.
I mean, there are days. Okay, so I think I've said this story on the show before, but in case I haven't, T-Shroom, I think I told you this. When I went to Maine back in February, and Tay and I went to go take stuff to put out in the truck, I had this. It was this weird feeling that came over me as I walked outside to take stuff in the truck. I was like, "What is this feeling?" And I realized that for a whole week, I'd had no reason to leave the house. I'd been in the backyard, so I had been outside. Like I'd go outside with the dogs sometimes, just kind of chill there with them. But I had no reason to cross my front door for an entire week. Taylor had gone to the grocery store and got all the food we needed. We didn't go on that week. We didn't have a date night because I was doing some work stuff, writing scripts and stuff. But it was just like it came over me. I was like, I have been in my house for an entire week, like I'm locked down in COVID. Which, by the way, we can say the COVID one now, supposedly on YouTube without getting in trouble.
I think your camera has COVID, dude.
I think it does. And, the 7 pixels that are showing my face right now are very beautiful.
That does seem to be the case.
But yeah, it was one of the things I'm like, sometimes this is my only human interaction. I'm with you there, Brian D. Like there was an entire week where the only people I saw, T-Shrimp came over every morning because he did the show, and my wife is here. But other than that, I saw nobody and did nothing. I just worked, enjoyed myself, worked out, walked in the backyard with dogs, had no human interaction. But that's going to change. I'm going to go back. That is going to be an interesting transition. I have been working from home now for, 5 months? And now I'm going to go back into an office ordeal. Should be okay. I always liked going into work. It's been convenient and nice to work from home, but I always did like getting up every morning and having a purpose to get up and get ready and go into an office space. But,
Ninja Glock said
it's different.
Ninja Glock said it's still better than every show out there, even when it's about nothing. And he points out that Seinfeld went 10 years about nothing. So
I didn't see that. I was about to say the same thing. I was like, yeah, it worked for Seinfeld. So
yeah, Seinfeld, Netflix.
To be fair, it's worked for a couple different shows. T-Shroom, speaking of shows, and I think this one's on Netflix too. T-Shroom got me watching this show called I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, that show,
which
so
is
good.
the epitome of a show about nothing.
Yeah.
You want to it makes Seinfeld look like a story out of
Tolkien.
I was going to go with the king of all stories, pretty much, Shakespeare. It makes it look like a Shakespeare story with how purposeless this show called I Think You Should Leave is.
Well, I just don't think you've seen much sketch comedy then.
Listen, I've watched sketch comedy, and yes, those are pointless too. This one takes the cake. I have never watched a show that you finish watching it, and you literally out loud have to say, what in the world did I just watch?
Yeah, I Think You Should Leave is great.
It's fun. Netflix. It's very funny. But it is the epitome of losing brain cells and pointless.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
And that's Netflix's best show.
It's different when it's like it's so creative and original that I don't feel like I'm losing brain cells. So I would imagine when they write the scripts for it, they are under the influence of something. I definitely don't dispute that.
Yeah. So
I don't know how.
Is
Taylor Warren said, I will be enjoying a season of stay-at-home life. Stay-at-home mom life.
We will be trading. Yeah, she's been going in. She's been a teacher now since last fall, and so she goes into work every day, and now she gets to stay home. And she'll get a month before the baby comes. She'll get a month of being home by herself, but she'll have a lot of stuff to get ready and do. She's a nester. She's already nesting. Even though we're moving, she's already planning her nesting tendencies up at the new house. So I'm glad for her, happy for her. She definitely is the type of person who likes working from home.
Celebrating the next run of life. I love it. It's great.
Heck yeah. That's pretty cool, mate.
Let's see.
I think that's about it.
Shout out to everybody who read the newsletter and gave us some feedback.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it yet, definitely go check it out. It is available to our members. And then we're also wondering if we should put it on Substack a day after. So it would be available to our members on Mondays, and then on Tuesdays it would be on Substack. So we're not sure if we want to do that, but we're leaning towards it.
I like it.
Give us some feedback on that on Twitter or wherever else.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for staying with us. This has been a fun episode to shoot. Absolutely. And hopefully you guys in this community, you guys got a big kick out of this show. We will be back tomorrow, joined by none other than Crypto Archie. It is going to be a fantastic, fantastic show. Make sure you guys come back in tomorrow. On your way out, if you have not already, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you are new here and you haven't yet done it and you enjoyed spending this morning with us, go ahead and smash that subscribe button as well. You guys are watching the most generous crypto YouTube community out there. None are more than us. We love each and every single last one of you guys. We will see you tomorrow morning. And those of you in our Patreon, we'll see you this afternoon for our bro time. We'll see you guys tomorrow.